You and your friends are coming to the latest information, the most notable current events on the YouTube channel of Nghe An Newspaper, the digital infrastructure of Nghe An Newspaper and radio and television. To know what the program is about today, please follow along below. On September 25, U.S. media reported that hundreds of U.S. generals and commanders from around the world had been summoned to Virginia to meet with Defense Secretary Pete Heet on September 30. According to officials, the meeting is scheduled to take place at the military base in Quantico, Virginia. However, the reason for the meeting has not been disclosed. Notably, even the general officers attending are not clear about the content or why the event was suddenly added to the program. This has led to many speculations about the purpose of the meeting, from the hypothesis that it is a collective physical test to a report on the situation of the Defense Department or even a mass layoff of officers. Whatever the real reason, the urgent summoning of such a large number of senior officers is considered very rare. Pentagon spokesman XIN Partners only commented briefly. The secretary will address senior military leaders early next week. He also did not answer questions about the number of attendees, the purpose of the meeting, or the reason for the emergency. According to the Washington Post, the order applies to most officers of the rank of brigadier general or higher, including commanders in conflict zones around the world. One source told the newspaper that people were very nervous because they did not understand what this meant. Another source noted that even commanders overseas were asked to attend the meeting in person. He stressed that this is not usually done. At the White House, Vice President James David Van downplayed the unusualness of the event, saying that such a meeting was completely normal. At a press conference in the gymnasium on the afternoon of March 25, President Trump spoke about this unusual meeting. He said, "Isn't it great that people from all over the world are attending?" He said the meeting would at least partly involve reviewing military equipment. "We have the best equipment in the world. Many generals want to be there," Mr. Trump stressed. They will also tour the facilities and will discuss the latest weapons. The United States currently maintains military forces around the world. From South Korea, Japan to the Middle East, with generals under command, Mr. Head is carrying out a drastic overhaul of the U.S. Department of Defense to implement President Trump's national security agenda and eliminate diversity programs he considers discriminatory. In May, Mr. S fired Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Brown and 5 other generals and admirals. Last month, he continued to fire the head of the Pentagon's intelligence agency and 2 senior commanders. In May, Mr. S ordered a 20% reduction in the number of 4-star generals, at least 20% reduction in the National Guard and another 10% in the entire military. He declared that more generals and admirals did not mean more success. Now many of the officers affected by the cuts will be sitting in the same room. One official, who spoke on condition of anonymity, said the situation may not be as serious as many people think, but the lack of transparency does not help stabilize the situation.
Recently, U.S. President Donald Trump announced a new display area called the Presidential Walk of Fame at the White House. Here, President Trump displayed portraits of all his predecessors. The portraits are displayed in gold frames along the West Wing corridor starting from President George Washington and extending to President Donald Trump. However, the portrait of President Joe Biden is not shown. Instead, there is a photo of the AutoPen automatic signature pen. The AutoPen is a device used to automatically sign documents. President Trump and his supporters have made many unsubstantiated allegations that President Biden's use of this device while in office was illegal or showed that he was not fully aware of his actions. Last month, a senior Justice Department official under President Trump said he had been ordered to investigate pardons that Biden issued in the final days of his term for family members and federal death row inmates. The Justice Department's pardon attorney, Ed Martin, said the investigation would examine whether Biden was competent and whether others took advantage of him through the use of automated pens or other means. The investigation comes amid questions about Biden's health and mental capacity while in office, a topic that has become more heated following his cancer diagnosis and a new book that revealed concerns within the Democratic Party last year about Biden's health. Emails from President Biden's White House reportedly revealed internal concerns, including within the Justice Department, about whether the former president personally reviewed some of the pardons. President Trump told reporters earlier this month, "I guess the only order he signed, or one of the few orders he signed, was the pardon for his son." Mr. Trump also claimed that the AutoPen was used illegally. Former President Biden has denied the allegations, asserting that all decisions were his own and that the use of an auto pen is completely legal. Under U.S. law, documents signed with this device have the legal value equivalent to a handwritten signature if approved by the president. Mr. Biden's closest aides have dismissed concerns, asserting that he is still fully capable of making important decisions. The Presidential Walk of Fame is part of a larger White House renovation plan under President Trump that includes gold-plating the Oval Office, a marble courtyard in the Rose Garden modeled after his Florida resort, a new ballroom under construction, and the installation of two 90-foot flagpoles on the White House lawn that Mr. Trump has described as the most beautiful flagpoles in the country or in the world. On 25th of this month, U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order approving the plan to sell TikTok's U.S. operations to U.S. and international investors. U.S. Vice President James David Van announced that TikTok's U.S. operations are valued at about $14 billion US. This is the first time the U.S. government has given a valuation for this short video application. There are some objections from the Chinese side, but the fundamental thing we want to achieve is to keep TikTok open while ensuring the data privacy of Americans is protected according to the law, Van told reporters in the Oval Office. Bloomberg reported that the valuation announced by Vice President Van was much lower than some previous forecasts that valued TikTok's U.S. operations at between $35 billion and $40 billion. In addition, according to an executive order signed by President Trump, TikTok will be owned by U.S. companies and controlled largely by a new board of directors. The deal includes close oversight of software updates, algorithms, and data flows. The order states that the parent company and its affiliates will own less than 20% of the new joint venture, as required by U.S. national security law. A U.S. official revealed that TikTok's U.S. owner will lease a copy of the algorithm from Biden. Oracle will then retrain the algorithm from scratch. Oracle will review the retrained algorithm and how it distributes content to users to ensure the new platform is not misused for malicious purposes or influenced by outside forces. U.S. user data will then be stored on a secure cloud system managed by Oracle with controls in place to prevent intrusion by foreign adversaries, including China. Biden will not have access to this data source. The White House boss declared that the new platform will be run entirely by Americans. He also revealed that billionaire Michael Dell, founder of Dello, U.S. media mogul Rupert Murdoch, and 4 to 5 other world-class investors will participate in the deal. According to two sources familiar with the Reuters news agency, a group of 3 investors, including Oracle and private equity firm Silver Lake, will own about 50% of TikTok's U.S. shares. In a notable development, a Paris court on May 25 sentenced former French President Nicolas Sarkozy to 5 years in prison in an investigation into allegations of illegal funding from the government of the late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi for his election campaign. According to the verdict, Sarkozy participated in the case from 2005 to 2007 to receive money from Libya in exchange for diplomatic favors to help him run for president in 2007. However, the court overturned his conviction on 3 other charges, including passive corruption, illegal election financing, and concealing embezzlement. With this verdict, Sarkozy, 70, becomes the first former French president to be convicted of accepting foreign money to win an election. Mr. Sarkozy was elected president in 2007 but lost his re-election bid in 2012. He denied all charges during a 3-month trial alongside 11 co-defendants, including 3 former ministers. The trial has revealed secret diplomatic channels between France and Libya in the 2000s as Mr. Gaddafi sought to restore ties with the West. Mr. Sarkozy has repeatedly denied the charges, calling them a political conspiracy based on fabricated evidence. He said the charges were a retribution for his calls to overthrow Mr. Gaddafi in 2011. France was among the first Western countries to support military intervention in Libya amid the Arab Spring. Mr. Sarkozy was awarded the Order of the First Order of Treason, France's highest award, in June this year after being convicted in a separate case. In 2021, he was convicted of corruption and bribery for attempting to bribe a judge to obtain information in a related legal case. He was sentenced to a year of house arrest with an electronic bracelet but was released on parole last May due to his age, after wearing the bracelet for just over 3 months. In a separate case, Mr. Psaki was also convicted of violating campaign finance laws during his failed 2012 re-election campaign. He was accused of spending more than twice the legal limit and was sentenced to a year in prison, 6 of which was suspended. Mr. Sakuji denies the charges and has appealed to France's highest court, but a final verdict has not yet been reached. With the latest sentence, Nicolas Psaki, once an icon of French right-wing politics, is facing a long string of legal scandals that threaten to completely end his remaining political ambitions.